So this is a bit of a new angle. I am actually up. I do have legs that function. So I've always wanted to make Guilmon bread ever since I was a tiny child watching Digimon Tamers. Basically, Guilmon bread is bread shaped like the head of Guilmon. At one point during Digimon Tamers, Ducato, the main character, and the other Tamers go to Ducato's house to make bread. The house has been evacuated because of the invasion of the D Reaper. If you don't know the reference on that, don't worry about it for right now. They decided, you know what, we're gonna crash here for the night and we're gonna make bread. And one of those loaves of bread is just of Guilmon's head. And like I said, ever since I was a tiny child, I've been wanting to make this bread. And we're gonna do that today. So in front of me are various ingredients. We have flour, we have salt, we have these, we have chocolate chips, we have that, and sugar. So we're not making like a traditional loaf of bread. So instead of making a traditional bread, we're going to go with a puff pastry just to get the shape that I want. And we're gonna go off of this reference photo. So the first thing we are going to do is get flour right here. So we need 3 1/3 cups of flour. It only goes up to 2 cups, but that is fine. Okay, that is 2 cups so far. Into the big bowl we go. And then we just need another 1 1/3 cup. All right, that's about correct. It doesn't need to be exactly correct. Half a stick of butter. About half. How do I want to approach this? Because I don't have a mixer. I just have a wooden spoon to mix this all with. So in that goes. So we're just gonna mix this as best we can. That did just come out of the fridge after all. Oh my god, please. Please. I have a family, please. Yeah, I'm gonna come back to this in about 10 minutes. Hopefully in 10 minutes the butter will be softened up enough to where I can actually do something with it. So it hadn't been a full 10 minutes. What I decided to do was just figure out where the chunks of butter were, just kind of just cut them in half with the spoon, and then just kind of mix it. I actually don't know where the butter is at this point. And it says to mix it until it looks even. This is as even as I can see it. We're gonna hope this is correct. Because, again, I have no idea where the butter is at this point. It looks like flour. Just pure, unadulterated flour. So this is where it gets tricky. Because in the instructions that I'm using, it doesn't say how much water and how much salt I need. We're gonna assume here, it does not give me exact measurements for salt or water. We're gonna assume maybe like a cup of water. And I'm gonna assume maybe like a teaspoon of salt at the absolute minimum. Because instructions are not clear. When I run this out, it says cool or room temperature. And then we're gonna look for some measuring. What are you? You're a teaspoon. Perfect. That is what I need. We're gonna do this with the sink. Actually, I think a teaspoon might be a little too much. Go maybe like half a teaspoon. Actually, that looks like way more than like even a teaspoon though. Like I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. That just looks like a lot though. I'm gonna trust. I'm gonna trust. I'm gonna trust. I'm gonna trust the process. If it's wrong, I know who to blame. We're just gonna get a mixing spoon, mix that up a little bit, and then slowly pour it in here. Wow, the mixer is on low speed. I don't have that, so what we're gonna do is pour a little bit, mix it a little bit, and just gradually add it in. A little bit more, mix it a little bit, and already I can tell you this does not look right. Because it should be getting a little bit more dough-like. So maybe a teaspoon isn't too much. We're just gonna dump the rest of that in. Maybe it's correct, I don't know. Because now that the rest of it's in, looks like it's gonna firm up a little bit. Actually, I might just add a little bit more. Because it's not taking all the flour. So we'll probably go like half of a cup more. And half a teaspoon more of the whole mixture. It's not, doesn't look like it's sticking together. Go half of what I have there. Actually, I think I put too much in. Oh well, that's fine. Yeah, that's definitely too much. Add the remaining butter and flour to my stand mixer bowl. Sister, what? Sister, what the hell are you talking about? I'm gonna figure this out off camera. Simply because it's time to chill this. Alright, so that's in the fridge. While that's going, I'm gonna let these 2 sticks of butter thaw out. Just because apparently we're gonna be using more butter and more flour. It says to do the rest of the flour and butter. I don't know what she means by the rest of the flour. What I'm going to guess is it's going to be another 3 cups of flour, and it looks like it's going to be a bit of a layering process. Okay, so yes, there is going to be a bit of a layering process to this. Since I don't know the exact proportions I need of flour, I'm going to roughly guesstimate that it's going to require 1.5 cups of more flour. Because I think it's intended to be a little bit more buttery than the rest of the dough. In the best interest of keeping this video entertaining, mostly, and just time, and all that jazz, I'm going to skip the part where I made a stencil out of tinfoil. Basically, what I was trying to do was get this little symbol on Guilmon's head for the bread. So it's about 10 minutes of footage I don't want to edit, but here's what that looks like. So it's been a little bit over 20 minutes. I'm going to grab what we did earlier out. Allegedly, it's going to be, it makes it easier to just get out of the bowl. Nope. It is not easier to get out of the bowl. We're going to put this aside and work on the other part of this. We're going to grab a 1.5 cups of flour. Because I have no, there's nothing indicating literally anything. Like the only measurements I got were at the very beginning of this. So I'm just guesstimating things at this point. It says to use flour and butt ton of butter. And what I did was I microwaved the butter. I think it went on for a little too long, but it's fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Like, I had it in there for like 30 seconds. Like, yeah, I think it's a little too much for what I was going for, but hey, it's whatever. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll mix it here. That's for damn sure. And I said to put on low in the mixer for 5 minutes. Again, I have a wooden spoon. We're not doing that. We're just winging this at this point. You know what sucks? It's still not mixing very well. We're just gonna do the best we can. I do believe it says to mix until it looks even. I think 1.5 cups was the correct call here. Yeah, it literally just says use the rest of the flour. What do you mean the rest of the flour? Like, what are you talking about? I should probably invest in a mixer, like a beater, because this is kind of insane. Now, if we're going to start rolling stuff out, we do need just a little bit of flour here. And we are going to grab our original mixer, pry this from the bowl. It's cooling it did not make it easier to get out, by the way. Pull this out as best as I can. I do not have a roller, so we're just gonna press this out as much as I can. Also, we're gonna adjust this microphone a little bit. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's actually pointed at me. You're not away from me. I should have bought a roller. I was getting ingredients for this, but no, I did not. And I have actually zero idea how many portions it's gonna yield. I want to say this will make at least 2, but I don't know. Feels like mashed potato. Like, this doesn't feel like dough. It feels like mashed potatoes. Take the butter layer. This just feels like mashed potatoes. It should just easily spread. Yeah, I don't think we have enough of the mixture that we're supposed to have, or we just spread this out too thin. Either way, I think I'm just gonna fold it and see what happens. Because, I don't know, it's about where we need it, actually. Now that I can no longer distinguish the butter dough from the actual dough, We're gonna start folding this. The instructions say to fold this part that doesn't have the butter on it in like that, and fold the rest of it in like that. Yeah, so we just need to roll it out again and again. I don't have a roller, so we're just gonna. So now that we are done with those sets of instructions, I am going to put the oven to 400 degrees. And while that's preheating, we are going to start to shape this. I think this will yield 2. So let's just cut this along the middle here. I am going to just kind of fold this a little bit. I'm actually going to take a little bit more off for the ears. Kind of like this, almost. And then actually you might want to take a little bit more off. I think this will yield 1 ear. And then we'll just tear off another piece here for the other ear. Okay, that'll work. Okay, just kind of work this a little bit. So that's the general shape we want. There are eyes here, they're red eyes. So I'm guessing they used something like, some like kind of fruit or berry. However, I'm not a big berry person. So I'm gonna use this, do 2 of these for them to kind of act as the eyes. And then we're gonna make an incision here and here, kind of. Because I want them inside a little bit. Actually, I don't think the incision even mattered. Kind of the shape that we want. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna bring this a little bit closer. Ears. Looking at our reference photo again. Okay, so let's just attach this like that. And then kind of just do this kind of motion. Actually, kind of do a tear there. And then a tear here. And then just kind of just shape it out a little bit. And actually, you know what, we could probably go a little bit less on this ear and more on this ear. That's roughly what we want. Roughly. There's 2 little nostrils. That's why I got the chocolate chips. Again, this is not technically a bread. It's breaded at the bread like thing that we have here. So they're just gonna go there. So I'm gonna stop recording here, get this one going off camera, and then we'll come back. The oven went off a few minutes ago. The stencil didn't work quite as well as I thought it would. Here's what they look like before going in the oven, and they're gonna go in for about 20 minutes. While that is going, we are going to put into a small bowl, small pot, because we are gonna make a filling with this and this. Okay, I think that's a little bit more than what I wanted. That's to use about 1-to-1 ratios. I think that's about 1-to-1, roughly. Turn that on, and when it starts to simmer around the edges, that's where we're gonna add in our chocolate. We're gonna chop that off a little bit off camera. Look at that. So these have been in there for about 40 minutes and not 20. Just so they would get the kind of golden brown here. It's still quite not there yet, but whatever. I wasn't perfectly comfortable with it being in there for longer than 40 minutes, so I just pulled it. And then these kind of did what I thought they would do, but it's not as bad as I thought. Like, there's a bit of running here. Ooh, that is firm. Anyways, there's a bit of running here, but for the most part, this actually looked pretty good. It did mostly what I wanted it to do, which was to act as eyes. Like, this is a little unfortunate, but it's whatever. I am happy with how these kind of turned out. So I'm gonna let these cool off. And also, I don't think it really mattered for the sugar here. You can't really see the shape I was trying to go for. Here is the end product here, kind of. One of the ears fell off as I was transporting it to this plate. This is not anywhere near puffy enough to have a filling. So we're just gonna use this filling. I mean, not all of it will come out of this pot here. So we're just gonna use this as like a dip. So we're gonna try the bit that fell off first. Yeah, that tastes like puff pastry. Indeed tastes like a pastry. And then with the thing that we used or made, that's pretty good, actually. If I would ever use again, I would probably size this down by a lot, and just make smaller puff pastries, basically. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have any recommendations what to do for either people who want to try this, or for me, for next time, if I ever want to do this again, let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe and turn on the notifications to get notified of when I post a video. I will see you next time. Bye bye.